Okay, so we're going to talk about the physiological and emotional impact on patients. Okay, or I like to call them customers because that's what they are. There's no type of real doctor healing a patient there. So, but anyway, what are the long-term effects on women who later regret their decisions? Did she provide or refer for counseling before or after prescribing these drugs? If not, is she culpable for the impact on her patients? Well, most certainly not. So the issue here is that she's the only thing she does is to it's like a revolving door. She's putting her signature on that prescription pad over and over and over again and churning out profit for the pharmaceutical industry. And she's there's culpability there. There's guilt, right? There's a serious wrongdoing here. For me, especially for me, I'm grieving the loss of my child, and grief is not some sort of, mental health justification to be able to put somebody on even more of these pharmaceuticals. It certainly is not. Grief is a very real thing. Like, for example, my father died. There's a day in December where when I remember. That my father died on this specific day, and I every year I try to not to cry, but without fail, my wife ends up holding me in her arms, and I'm crying and grieving the loss of my father. So grief is a real thing, and grief for an unborn child certainly is real. It's not some sort of mental health. I'm not and we've discussed that extensively, and we will continue to discuss that. I am certainly of sound mind, and I'm able to discuss these topics. In a morally sound and logically conclusive. These facts are logically conclusive. These types of arguments are made with the best interests of society and humanity at heart. This is not some sort of the ramblings of a lunatic, right? But what is the ramblings of a lunatic? Well, what she will say is the blastocyst will fail to implant. That's great. I will not have a baby, and I can focus on my career. Since the blastocyst is not a baby, and the implantation stage is not going to, there's not going to be any implantation, then I can be successful in my career, right? That's the kind of, she knows that that's not true, but the woman has been deceived, right? The woman has been successfully deceived. Um, so that will certainly provide a physiological or emotional impact once the patients realize they were duped, right? So what are these long-term effects on these women and these fathers, right? And the fathers, for me, I am a father that regrets not being able to protect my child. I was not able to protect my child from death, from Dr. Dow killing my own child. I mean, it's really wicked. I mean, she's a murderess. And she's extremely dangerous. Right? She's an extremely dangerous woman, guilty of abominable acts of crimes against the very humanity that we are, that we stand for, and that we love. So she's a bringer of death, a destroyer of worlds, if you will. Getting a little bit philosophical here, but certainly is, the greatest crime in humanity, right? So there's certainly an emotional impact here. There's real grief and all that stuff. So I think this is very, very important to. I mean, we cannot deny the baby their humanity, right? You cannot deny the baby their humanity, and you will try. You can try. You say, well, I never knew this baby. I don't care, and all this stuff. It's just a blastocyst that failed to implant. Now, the truth is, there was a humanity. It was a small boy or a small girl, and the baby was 100% real, conceived. The ovulation took place. Right? The ovulation occurred, and the conception was real. Right? There's a baby there. So there is going to be a physiological and emotional impact. Yes, for the mother, yes. After they learned that they were, duped, but also for the father. And what about the grandparents, right? What about the dad that is paying for his, teenagers, 16-year-old, 17-year-old girls, birth control, and learns that his grandson or granddaughter died because of these things that he was paying for? I mean, it's a betrayal. It certainly is a betrayal. So the grandfather has every right to grieve. The mother and father has every right to grieve. The grandmother, and the rest of the family too. I mean, and I'm grieving just for my neighbor, right? This is a neighbor. Who is the neighbor, right? It's a baby boy or a baby girl that was lost.